Is there a point where flight sim gear just gets too expensive? Virtualfly sent through their VRNIO Plus TPM for testing and hit €895. We might be getting close. But Virtualfly own that fact and they do embrace it, and you'll see exactly why in this video. But that comes with a few hard truths that will cut out a large segment of the flight sim market. So what exactly is it? This is a Vernier style TPM, that's a throttle, prop and mixture. Kind of controls you'd find in a Cessna 172 or a 182. If you're flying GA aircraft like that in the sim, then this is designed to replicate exactly what you have in the real cockpit. Now here's what makes Vernier controls different from your typical push-pull throttle quadrant. On the prop and the mixture, you've got two ways to adjust them. You can push the aluminium button on the end and slide them in and out, just like that. And that's mainly for your, or well, it is for your big adjustments. Then you can twist them for really fine control, just like that. Now, it's perfect for leaning the mixture at altitude or dialing in your prop and getting it just right. But let's talk about what you're actually getting for that money. And it's all in the build quality. The construction here is almost entirely metal. Virtualfly says 95% metallic construction, and I believe it. This thing has some serious weight to it. The throttle has a different shape from the mixture and prop controls. They're also color-coded just like the real aircraft. Black for the throttle, blue for the prop and red for the mixture. The throttle can also be tightened up to a point that you can fully lock it in. Inside you've got Hall effect sensors on all three axes, and if you've watched any of my other reviews, you know I'm a big fan of Hall sensors. However, most flight sim products use these days, so it's nothing super special. For mounting, you've got two options. You've got the clamp for desktop use, and you can see there is some rubber which will connect to the underside of the desk, and then sort of rubber on the top of that screw head there, and that just clamps up to the underside of the desk. And if I flip this over, you'll see exactly how it's supposed to fit on. So you're just going to screw in there, and then these rubber pieces hold it fairly firmly to the desk. The other way that you can mount this is using the threaded holes for permanent panel mounting just through the front there. If you're building a proper cockpit, that second option is brilliant. And we'll be doing exactly that in an upcoming video where I make some design changes and include the VRNIO on the full GA simulator. But the most important thing is how it feels, especially when you're trying to justify that price point. But regardless of where this falls in price, I've fallen in love with it. The throttle action is incredibly smooth. In fact, I could sit here and just do that all day long. I've used a few throttles just like this over the years, but this is probably one of the best feeling throttles I've ever had my hands on. The tension for the prop and the mixture feels just right. The adjustable tension on the throttle is perfect, but it's the combined action and feeling of all of them that really sticks out. For something like leaning the mixture at cruise altitude, being able to twist and fine adjustments rather than trying to nudge a slider, it gives you a level of control you cannot get with any other type of throttle. And the same goes for every axis. You can dial in exactly where you want it. So it looks great, it feels great. What's the catch? Well, the catch is €895. That's hard for anyone to swallow. I've also got the Desktop Pilot TPM Vernier here, and it basically does the same job, throttle prop mixture with Vernier action. That one's $600 USD, so you're looking at nearly a $400 price difference. Now, is the Virtual Fly better? Absolutely. The materials are way more premium, the Hall sensors should last a lifetime, and the overall feel is noticeably smoother by a long, long way. But is it $400 better? That's where it gets a little bit tricky. If you look at the comments on the other reviews of Virtual Fly gear I've done over the years, the price is always the sticking point. People saying things like, if you can afford this, you can put it towards actual flying hours. And honestly, in some sense, they're not wrong. And for this kind of money, you could get the Desktop Pilot TPM plus a trim wheel, flaps panel and ignition panel, or maybe couple it with a decent set of rudder pedals. So if you're on any kind of budget, there's definitely an opportunity cost, whatever way you want to cut it. On the other side of the coin, there are always people with no concern for budget and just want the best, and this is simply it. So who should actually buy this? Here's how I see it. If you're building a dedicated GA cockpit for a Cessna 172, and particularly the 182, and you want the absolute best, then this makes sense. The build quality, the feel of the controls, the lifetime sensors, every time you put your hands on this, you'll be reminded why you paid an exuberant amount of money for it. If you're a real pilot using the sim to stay current and you want the controls to feel similar to the real aircraft, this is probably worth it if budget isn't a concern. But if you're a general simmer who flies a bit of everything, GA today, airliners tomorrow, maybe some military jets on the weekend, you definitely want to look elsewhere. This is specifically designed for piston GA aircraft, and at €895, that's about $1,000. Let's just say that money could go a much longer way on other gear. But a quick rundown of the pros. Exceptional build quality with an almost entirely metal construction, which is very similar to all of the other Virtual Fly products that I've reviewed so far. They've got Hall effect sensors on all axes, which should last forever. The vernier action on the prop and mixture is super smooth and precise as it gets. If you fly the aircraft with these types of controls, having something authentic like this really does add to the experience. And the cons, well, you know what I'm going to say here. The price is going to be hard to justify for most people. It's very GA specific, not versatile for other aircraft types. Not actually a con, but more of a consideration. The Desktop Pilot alternative does the same job for almost half the price, but, and it's a big but, it's simply not in the same league in terms of build and feel. So here's where I land on this. I absolutely love using this. The month I've had testing this, it's been genuinely an enjoyable experience. For GA flying with the right type of plane, it will add a lot to the experience. The way it moves, the way it feels in the hands, it's clear Virtual Fly just wanted to build the best regardless of cost. But can I recommend it? The value proposition only makes sense if you're very committed to the right type of GA aircraft and if you're building a proper cockpit, or you just want the absolute best and you just simply don't care about the price. If you have unlimited budget, this is the kind of thing that you'd pick up and you'd be very happy with. Other than that, if you're fanatical about build quality, and I mean fanatical, and the feel of the controls, then it's probably worth it. For everyone else, there are solid alternatives at much lower price points that'll get you most of the way there. You just need to be willing to forgo that high-end feel.